Self-awareness. We're going to talk about self-awareness today. And self-awareness for leaders is a really big deal. And let me tell you why. How are you feeling right now? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling happy? Feeling tired? Feeling angry? Feeling depressed? These are all things that leaders need to be aware of about themselves because that will determine the outcome of certain situations that you find yourself in. Let's say you had a rough morning getting the kids off to school. There was arguing, there was complaining, there was whining. You had a bad night of sleep and you are just not feeling like you're going to have good interactions with people. And then the first thing that you get hit with when you walk into work that morning is a complaint about something. Now, the person who has the complaint doesn't know that you had to fight with your kids for 45 minutes to get them out the door and on the school bus. But that does play a part in how you handle that. So being self-aware and understanding what you're feeling, when you're feeling it, and why you're feeling it is going to play a part in how you deal with the people in your organization. And you have to be aware of that. A big one is arguments with spouses. That comes up a lot, where you have an argument with your spouse and then you go to work or you have a bad interaction with them on the phone and then somebody comes in and you're already at level 8.5 out of 10. Now the person coming in your door does not know that you're at an 8.5. And it is not their responsibility to know that you're at an 8.5, but it is your responsibility to make sure they don't get that 8.5 because that's not fair to them. You need to be self-aware enough so that you can lead yourself and your emotions and the people that you are dealing with because they need you to lead them. They don't need to be on the receiving end of the argument that you had with your spouse. Does that make sense? Excellent. Young people, I know that you're watching this as well, and I want you to think about your own self-awareness. You are on the cusp of adulthood, but you're still kind of a kid and you're in this weird limbo phase where, oh, I still do kid stuff, but I'm going to be going to college in a few months and I'm going to be living on my own. So you're going to go from having a room and chores to living on your own in the matter of a few months. That's a big deal. And you need to be self-aware about that. Say you go to a party and you're feeling scared because weird stuff is going on at this college party, which happens a lot. Don't deny those feelings. Don't say, oh, it's not a big deal. No, if you're feeling uneasy about something, it's usually because you had some sort of pre-contact indicator that said, this is danger, don't do this, or you need to watch out for that guy over there, he looks like trouble. Yep, all of those things come into play. You need to be self-aware, and then the next part of that is have strong opinions. You need to have strong opinions on a lot of things. Because when you have a strong opinion on something, you also have self-confidence in that opinion. So, young people, you need to form strong opinions on things like what you're going to do or not do at a party. And I'm not going to get into all the details of that, but you know what all that means. So, what are you going to do and not do at a party, and be able to voice that and stand strong in that. So, you need to have a strong no. And then leaders and young people, you need to also have a strong yes, because that shows balance. If you're just no, 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 you're one-sided, and people are probably just going to be like, oh, don't talk to Todd. He's just going to say no. Don't worry. Yeah, he says no to everything. But if you have a strong no and a strong yes, that's going to show that you have balance and that you have leadership and that you think about things. So there are some things, I'll give you a fun example. My daughters and I talk about just boys and stuff like that. Not that they have any boyfriends or anything. I hope not. But when we talk about boys, I always play, the over-the-top dad. Be like, yep, you can come to the door and you can run, but you'll just die tired. Silly stuff like that. Dad stuff. But I also talk about that in a very serious way, where my daughters do not question. If there were somebody who were to break into the house in the middle of the night and try to cause them harm, my daughters know exactly where I would stand, what I would do, and, that the police would come and collect the body. Stuff like that. But they also know that I have a very strong yes. And what my yeses are usually going to be tied to is some sort of new experience that will give them some sort of experience in education or learning something new. So whenever we drop them off to like camp, I always say, and their mother says the same thing, try something new. Do a new experience, try the new food, make the new friend, do the high ropes course, go on the tubing trip, whatever it is, try the new thing. Because when you try the new thing, you may find the thing that you fall in love with. And that can be awesome. So having a strong no, having a strong yes makes you self-aware. And you also need to be self-aware so that you can express your reasons for your no's and your yeses. Because when you are self-aware, you have a strong opinion, you have a strong yes and a strong no, you also are very self-confident. And self-confident people are not usually victims. Victims of what, Todd? Victims of just about everything. They are not usually victims of office politics. They are not usually victims at parties. They are not usually victims in arguments. Perfect example. I had a situation in my life where someone was giving me bad information and kept questioning some things that I had said. And finally I was like, well, where are you getting all this information? It's not true. Well, person A said, well, person B told me these things. I looked over my shoulder and person A was walking down the hall. So I said, let's solve this right now. Person B, come with me. And I walked them over to person A and I said, hey, you guys both had these opposite views of these questions that I said. Where did you get that from? And person B was like, well, person A told me that. And person A was kind of like, oh, shoot. And I was like, all right, looks like you guys have some things to talk about. I'll see you later. And I left. Right then, that established that I was not going to partake in he said, she said type conversations. Just wasn't going to happen. And that reputation followed me in that organization. So people knew, oh man, if you start messing around with Todd, he's just going to go connect the dots and be done. Okay, and then I didn't have to deal with that anymore. Now I was kind, I was respectful, but I was direct. I had a strong opinion, I had a strong yes and a strong no, and I knew where I stood. I didn't want any part of that, and so I made sure that the people around me knew that as well, in a kind, respectful way. Now, what do you need to work on? Do you have a strong yes? Do you have a strong no? Are you unsure about some things? This is a really big point of growth. If you are unsure about something, figure it out. I'm going to use the presidential election in 2024 as an example. There are a lot of issues. You can pick your side, doesn't matter. Whatever you don't have a strong opinion about on the 2024 election, think about it. Think about all of the political issues that are on either side. It doesn't matter. If you cannot express why you feel a certain way about a certain thing, figure that out and be able to express that. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go find some group of people and bash them with your words or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But it's a really good exercise for you to say, I wonder how I feel about this, or I wonder how I feel about that. Figure it out. And then once you do, figure out a way to express that. Because once you do, now you have a strong opinion, a strong stance, and I'm not saying you have to do anything with it, but it gives you self-awareness. Like, oh, that's why I believe that, or that's why I feel about that. And as you grow your self-awareness and your self-confidence, you grow as a leader. Because the stronger you are, the less violent you have to be. And you think, Todd, violence? I'm not going to go fight anybody. Yeah, I don't mean that. What I mean by that is when you have a very strong, self-confident person, they don't need to resort to violent words, violent emotions, violent psychological tactics, because they are in control of themselves. They know who they are. They're not easily swayed by other people, so those attacks just don't seem to matter. Think about a parent and their young child wrestling. The young child's going to be like, "Arr!" and try to, get the dad or whatever it is. And the dad's kind of like, and obviously there's a huge size difference. You know the child doesn't stand a chance. And the dad is not really offended. Even, now I've seen this before, where the kid gets mad and they start crying and they're punching and they're really upset. And the dad's like, yeah, okay. But why? It's because the dad is so self-confident in that position and there's such a big size difference. You can have that same feeling and stance on just about anything in your life. You can be so self-aware and self-confident in something that the attacks of other people don't bother you. And that's my goal for you. My goal for you is to be so self-aware, self-confident, and have strong opinions about things that you're not easily swayed by other people. Young people, this is especially for you. As you're getting ready to enter the workforce, go to college, go off to do whatever it is that you're going to do, having a strong yes, having a strong no, being self-aware, and have the ability to express those things is hugely important for you. You're going to have people who are trying to sway you to do all sorts of things, for signing up for credit cards or doing something stupid at a college party. Are you going to be able to say no when the time comes? Are you going to be able to say yes to the right opportunities? And if you don't know, are you going to be able to stop and put space in front of you until you figure it out? Those are the things that are important for you to do, and you're going to have to do that for the rest of your life. So self-awareness, self-confidence, strong yes, strong no, and be able to express that. Let me know what you're working on in your life and what you need help on with strong yeses and strong nos. I'm Todd, and my mission is to equip current and aspiring leaders with the tools, insights, and strategies they need to excel in their roles. Through personalized coaching, cutting-edge leadership development, and tailored consultation services, I help leaders cultivate respect, resilience, and excellence, enabling them to make lasting impacts on their businesses and organizations. If you or someone you know could benefit from this type of growth in their life, let's connect and have a conversation and see if I can help.